I was in the hospital, and at the end bed of the ward was a young Catholic priest. And as soon as we were told that the atom bomb was dropped, we were told it killed 1,000,000 Japs. That's not true, but that's what we were told. So a group of us went up to the priest, and we said, "What do you make of this? We dropped one bomb and killed 1,000,000 people. Is that right?" He said, "Ask me in a few days. I haven't had a chance to talk to the Vatican yet." I don't tell that to Catholics because they would object to it, but I thought it was interesting. He wouldn't say anything till he heard what the Vatican's official position was. Now I'll tell you an interesting story about, I was in that hospital bed, and there was a guy in the next bed who also had hepatitis, and he checked in with 2 bottles of liquor. And the doctor says, if you drink that liquor, you're going to die. That's poison if you have hepatitis. Well, he drank the whiskey, and he died. So they put a young captain in there, an infantry captain, a Jewish guy. So he was in the next bed to me, so we got talking. After a few days, he says to me, "My rabbi's coming to visit. Would you like to meet him?" I said, "I got nothing better to do. I'll meet your rabbi." So the day came, and we got dressed in our uniforms, and we went into the orderly room. I got to go back. My father died when I was 11. My brother was 13. He was a man. In the Jewish religion, when you're bar mitzvah, when you're 13, you become a man. He was a man. So he had to go to temple morning and night for 11 months. It's a lot. Before school, before dinner, 11 months. I said, they told me I didn't have to go, I'm not a man yet. I said, if he's going, I'm going. So the 2 of us went to temple 11 months, morning and night. But not the temple we belonged to, which was too far away. This was a small temple was nearby. And the rabbi was 30 years old. He was a young rabbi. So he used to come and kibitz with us, and teach us and all that. A year after my father died, a few months after we finished that 11 months, my mother started dating that rabbi. See, my mother was a widow. She was dating the rabbi. The rabbi wanted children. My mother was 8 years older than the rabbi. The rabbi wanted children. My mother had 3 children. She didn't want any more. So they broke up. Now I'm in Saipan in the hospital. I go into this orderly room to meet this guy's rabbi. Who's the rabbi? The one my mother dated. I recognized him right away. But it's 11 years later. He doesn't recognize me. I was 11, now I'm 22. So after maybe a minute, I couldn't control myself. I said, "Rabbi, do you know who I am?" He said, "Yeah, I see your tag, Lieutenant Goldman." I said, "That's not what I'm referring to." He said, "What are you referring to?" I said, "Do you remember Hannah Goldman?" He says, "Oh my God, you must be Hank." He jumps up, he comes over, by then I'm up, throws his arms around me. He says, "Your mother is the finest woman I've ever known." He says, "We didn't get married because I wanted children, and she didn't want any more children, so we broke up." He says, "I'm now married and I have 2 children, but I'll never forget your mother." He says, "I'm going home, the war's winding down. I'll be home in a couple of weeks. When I get off the plane in Newark, the first thing I'm going to do is call your mother." I said, "You have her number?" "Oh, sure, I have her. I talk to her once in a while." Okay. About 4 weeks later, I get a letter from my mother that the rabbi had called her. Now I come home 3 months later, and one of the first things I said to my mother, "Wasn't that nice that Rabbi Lippis called you and told you I was going to be okay, that I was in the hospital, but I'm all right. And you didn't have to worry about me anymore." She said, "I never worried about you." I said, "Mom, I was shot down twice. The Japs were shooting at me. What do you mean you didn't worry about me?" She says, "I knew you could take care of yourself. I never worried about you." True story. She really said that. She never, with everything I went through, she never worried about me. My brother, 2 years older, she worried about him. Never worried about me.